Welcome to my channel, where every story comes to life. Dive into captivating narratives that spark your imagination. Let's start today, new narrative story. On what should have been the happiest day of my life, I discovered my wife in the arms of another man, our neighbor. This is the story of how I took back my dignity and found a path to healing. In a picturesque village nestled among the Swiss Alps, David and Clara Müller appeared to embody the ideal couple. David, 35, was a dedicated architect with aspirations to establish a prominent practice. Clara, 33, was a beloved teacher, known for her kindness and community involvement. Their life together seemed flawless, filled with shared dreams of travel and family. However, the cracks in their seemingly perfect relationship began to show, ultimately leading to a betrayal that would change their lives forever. As their 5th wedding anniversary approached, David planned an elaborate surprise. He envisioned a romantic dinner at their favorite restaurant, followed by a weekend getaway to the serene mountains. Little did he know, the day would unravel into a heart-wrenching confrontation. David was a man who poured his heart into his work. Growing up in a family of builders, he developed a passion for design and construction early on. His dedication often kept him late at the office, but he always made time for Clara, believing that their love was strong enough to weather any storm. Clara, on the other hand, had an infectious spirit. As a teacher, she was adored by her students and respected by parents. Her weekends were often filled with volunteering at local charities, organizing community events, and hosting friends for dinner. However, her social nature began to shift when she formed a close friendship with Matthias, their neighbor. Matthias, 34, was charming and charismatic, with a passion for gardening and an easy smile. He and Clara often bonded over their shared interests, which David initially found endearing. As weeks turned into months, David noticed a subtle change in Clara. Her laughter seemed more vibrant when she spoke of Matthias, and their conversations occasionally extended late into the night. But David chose to trust her, believing in the strength of their marriage. On the morning of their anniversary, David woke up early, bubbling with excitement. He had decorated the house with flowers and lit candles, creating an inviting atmosphere. The scent of fresh coffee filled the air as he prepared a delicious breakfast. He envisioned Clara's delighted expression when she walked into the dining room. As Clara entered, her face lit up with surprise and joy. "David, this is beautiful. You didn't have to go to all this trouble," she exclaimed, wrapping her arms around him. "I wanted today to be special," David replied, his heart swelling with love. They spent the morning reminiscing about their favorite memories together, laughter echoing through their home. Clara's smile, however, held a hint of distraction, something David brushed aside. After breakfast, David handed Clara a small gift, a delicate silver locket engraved with their initials. Her eyes sparkled as she opened it, and she hugged him tightly. They decided to spend the afternoon together, planning their getaway. Yet, as the hours ticked by, David noticed Clara frequently checking her phone, her expressions ranging from excitement to anxiety. "What's going on?" he asked, concern creeping into his voice. "Just some planning for the weekend. You know how it is," Clara replied, brushing off his inquiry. David wanted to believe her, but felt a nagging doubt gnawing at him. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the village, David suggested they get ready for their dinner reservation. Clara smiled, but there was something in her eyes that unsettled him. "I'll be ready in a bit. Just need to freshen up," she said, heading to the bedroom. Feeling a mix of anticipation and unease, David decided to check on Clara. He knocked lightly on the bedroom door but received no response. An uncomfortable feeling settled in his stomach. He turned the knob and stepped inside, expecting to find her applying makeup or choosing an outfit. Instead, the sight that greeted him shattered his world. Clara was entwined with Matthias, laughter ringing through the air like a cruel mockery of their vows. Time stood still as David's heart plummeted. Clara's eyes widened in horror as she spotted him, while Matthias scrambled to cover himself, the sheets tangling around them like a noose. "David! I can explain!" Clara gasped, desperation lacing her voice. "No need," he replied, voice cold and steady, though inside he was a storm of emotion. "I know exactly what's happening here." David's heart raced as rage and betrayal surged through him, the weight of their broken trust pressing down like an anvil. He turned on his heel and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. In the aftermath, David F.E. found himself walking aimlessly through the village, his mind racing. The pain was excruciating, an ache that felt physical. He couldn't process what had just happened. Betrayal had never felt this visceral. Clara's pleas echoed in his mind, but he refused to entertain any justification for her actions. As night fell, he returned home, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken words and shattered dreams. David needed to confront Clara, but not just about the affair. He needed to reclaim his dignity. He texted Matthias, requesting a meeting the following day. In the dim light of their kitchen, Clara awaited him, her expression a mix of guilt and anger. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she cried. "We were just—" "Stop!" David interrupted, the pain in his voice sharper than he intended. "You've betrayed me in the most profound way. I deserve honesty, not this. I'm meeting Matthias tomorrow." "What do you plan to do?" Clara's voice was laced with fear. "I'm not here to discuss it with you. I'll get my answers from him." The next day, David met Matthias at a small cafe. Matthias, appearing confident, took a seat, his demeanor relaxed, as if they were discussing a casual topic rather than an affair that had shattered David's life. "David, I'm glad we could talk," Matthias said, trying to project calm. "Let's cut the pleasantries," David replied, his voice firm. "I want to know why you thought it was okay to betray my trust." Matthias smirked, leaning back in his chair. "Clara and I have a connection you wouldn't understand. You've been so focused on your work. She was seeking something more fulfilling." David's blood boiled. "Fulfilling? You think betraying your neighbor is fulfilling? You took advantage of my trust and her vulnerability." The conversation escalated, with David confronting Matthias about the lies he had told Clara, painting a picture of a romance that was anything but. As they spoke, David's mind raced, formulating a plan. He needed to contact the other betrayed spouse, OBS, Lena, Matthias's long-term girlfriend who was oblivious to the affair. That evening, David crafted a message for Lena. He approached it delicately, knowing that she would be devastated. "Hi, Lena. I hope this message finds you well. I need to speak with you about something important regarding Matthias and Clara. Please call me when you can." Within a few hours, his phone buzzed with Lena's name. Her voice trembled as she answered. "David? What's going on? I believe you deserve to know the truth. Matthias has been involved with my wife, Clara, for some time now. I'm sorry to bring this to you, but it's important." Silence filled the line before Lena's sharp intake of breath pierced through. "Are you serious? I can't believe this. I can share more if you'd like to meet. I think we both need answers." They arranged to meet at the same cafe David had confronted Matthias. The weight of the situation hung heavily over them as they sat across from each other, exchanging stories of betrayal. Lena's heartache mirrored David's, and together they forged an unexpected bond. With Lena's support, David decided to confront Clara and Matthias together. They agreed to meet at the park where Clara and Matthias often spent time, a serene location now stained with the bitterness of betrayal. On the designated day, David felt a mix of anxiety and determination. He and Lena arrived first, seated on a bench, watching as Clara and Matthias approached hand in hand, laughter spilling from their lips. The sight was almost too much to bear. As they neared, David stood up, heart pounding. "Clara, Matthias, we need to talk." Confusion washed over their faces as they realized the gravity of the situation. Clara's smile faded, replaced by a look of horror when she saw Lena beside David. "David? What's happening?" Clara's voice quivered, betraying her panic. "Surprise," Lena said, her tone sharp. "Your betrayal was more public than you thought." Clara's face turned pale as she registered the implications. "What do you mean?" David stepped forward, a mix of anger and hurt fueling his voice. "Clara, you don't get to pretend anymore. I know about your affair with Matthias, and I've spoken with Lena. She deserves to know the truth." The confrontation erupted into chaos, with Clara's desperate attempts to explain falling flat against the weight of their betrayal. Matthias tried to downplay the situation, but the gravity of their actions was undeniable. David and Lena stood firm, united in their pain. As the confrontation unfolded, Clara's facade crumbled. Tears streamed down her face as she pleaded for forgiveness. "I made a mistake. I never wanted to hurt you, David." "But you did," David replied, voice steady. "You chose to betray me with someone I trusted. How can I ever trust you again?" Lena added, "You need to understand the impact of your choices, Clara. You took advantage of both of us." In that moment, Clara realized the depth of her betrayal, the consequences echoing far beyond their private lives. As Matthias attempted to defend his actions, David saw the truth. Their relationship was built on deceit and betrayal. The confrontation reached a boiling point, and Clara's sobs filled the air, her regret palpable. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen." David felt a pang of sorrow for the woman he had loved, but it was overshadowed by the anger that had taken root in his heart. "It doesn't matter anymore, Clara. This is over." In the days following the confrontation, David grappled with his emotions. The pain of betrayal lingered, but so did a sense of liberation. He had faced the truth head-on, reclaiming his dignity in the process. Lena became a source of support, and their friendship blossomed into something deeper. They spent evenings discussing their dreams, their lives intertwined by shared experiences. David found solace in Lena's understanding, her compassion offering a balm for his wounded heart. As time passed, David focused on his work, pouring his energy into his architecture projects. Each design became a reflection of his journey, building from the ruins of betrayal into something beautiful. Lena encouraged him to explore his creativity, and together they visited art exhibits and engaged in discussions about their futures. Slowly, David's heart began to heal, the pain transforming into a drive to create a fulfilling life. Months later, David received a message from Clara requesting to meet. The thought filled him with anxiety, but he agreed, wanting closure. They met at a quiet cafe, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken words. "Thank you for meeting me," Clara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't think I'd hear from you again," David replied, keeping his tone neutral. "I've had time to reflect on everything. I know I hurt you deeply, and I'm truly sorry. I never wanted to cause you pain," she said, tears brimming in her eyes. David felt a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, and even sympathy. "Clara, what we had is over. I'm moving on." "I understand," she said, nodding slowly. "I just wanted you to know that I've been working on myself. I'm trying to become a better person." "Good. You need to," David replied. "But I can't be part of your journey anymore." As they parted ways, David felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had faced Clara, confronted the pain, and emerged stronger. David's journey through betrayal transformed him. He learned that love requires trust, and when that trust is broken, rebuilding is essential, not just for the relationship, but for oneself. Clara and Matthias became lessons in his past, reminders of the importance of honesty and respect. With Lena by his side, David began to embrace the future with hope. Their bond deepened, filled with shared experiences and mutual understanding. David had learned to trust again, and for the first time in a long time, he felt free. In the end, this story serves as a powerful reminder. Even in the depths of betrayal, one can find the strength to rise, rebuild, and forge a path towards healing and love. Thank you for watching this tale of love, betrayal, and resilience. What would you have done in David's shoes? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and share this story with others.